Hello everyone, and welcome to Retro Direction. This is Michael, and hello to all my Instagrammer friends. Welcome to this review slash showcase of the brand new game by Dangen Entertainment. It's called The Takeover, and it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. In other words, for all of you Instagrammers that know me well, you know my absolute favorite game genre is the side-scrolling beat 'em up. So, without further ado, let me take you on the guided tour. So when you first start the game, you select from three different characters. You get Connor, who's the lumbering powerhouse. You get Ethan, who's the good all-rounder, and he's very reminiscent of Axel Stone of Streets of Rage fame. And then you get Megan, who's super fast but not super powerful, but she can do a lot of damage with very, very fast attacks. When you finish the game, the first time, you unlock Jackson, who's a very, very cool character to use. He's got a combination of punches, kicks, and baseball bat slams. And when you complete the game with Jackson, you unlock relay mode, which I won't spoil for you. Anyway, I'd say on with the show.
Vanessa? Vanessa?
There is a very simple plot. Vanessa is the daughter. She's been kidnapped. You have to rescue her. Enough said. Anyway, the slightly animated comic book cutscenes are they're very well done indeed, and they do drive the story forward. Now, when I first bought the game and played through it, I emailed Dangen Entertainment just to pay them compliments for such a fantastic game. Now, this is a Streets of Rage alternative. I wouldn't say it's a copy. You can tell by playing it and by looking at it that the developers have been clearly inspired by the likes of Streets of Rage and Final Fight, perhaps more Streets of Rage than Final Fight. But that's not a bad thing, because if, you know, as a game developer, if you're inspired by a very popular game genre, then why not make the most of it and create something with your own hand? Anyway, the most important aspect of all, gameplay. How does it stack up? I'll show you. Now you've got various attack moves. If you press the triangle button in rapid succession, you unleash a flurry of punches. It's the same with the triangle button. You keep pressing it, you unleash a flurry of kicks. You press the square button and you do this screen clear, well, not screen clearing move. There is a screen clearing move, but I'll get to that in a little later. But this one, if you've got enemies that are surrounding you in close proximity, you can do that move, and it's very reminiscent of Axel Stone of Streets of Rage fame's Dragon Wing or Dragon Smash. It just knocks enemies away from you. And if you press the square button towards your enemies, you do a fireball. Like that. Like Ryu and Ken out of Street Fighter. There are various pickups you can collect, such as spinning remote control cars, or toy cars or something, various coins of different colors, and food, like apples and hamburgers. Now, believe it or not, when you're playing this game, you'll find yourself crying out for a health replenishment item very often. They're very rare. Another cool touch, you pick up bullets, and when you do, if you're surrounded by certain types of enemies and you just want a quick getaway, press and hold R2 and press circle, and you shoot people. You can't move while you're holding the gun, so you've got to do it standing still. So you've got to align yourself within the enemy's trajectory, and then you can just shoot them. Now, underneath the health bar, besides the gun icon, there's the super bar. This is the bit I was going to tell you about, the screen clearing super move. When that super bar is full, you can unleash a very powerful screen clearing devastating move that knocks enemies away from you. Although it doesn't kill them outright, depending on their health bar status, it does give you a chance to gain the upper hand. But it eats into your health bar, same as the other moves like the Dragon Wing and the Fireball, so use them sparingly. As soon as my health bar fills up, you'll see what I mean. Right, now, get ready, watch this. And so you've got to keep pummeling your foes to fill up the bar again. Look at that. Good, isn't it? And there you have it. Now, a couple of nice touches. While you're playing the game, you spend 90% of your time walking along beating the crap out of everything that stands before you. But just to give you a break from the action, not that I personally want it. When I'm playing a side-scrolling beat-em-up, I just want to walk along beating the crap out of virtual enemies. But this game gives you a nice touch. There are two levels that are different. One of them is a car chase level, where you're shooting enemy cars, highlighted by arrows. The other one is an afterburner type level. And the really nice touch that, in my opinion, really truly alleviates frustration. If you're not very good at those particular types of levels, like things like afterburner and like driving where you're shooting things, no matter how badly you score, the game doesn't penalize you. It doesn't set you back to the beginning of that level. So you have to keep at it until you sort of eventually find a way to finish it. No, it doesn't do that. Even if you're completely rubbish, like me, as soon as you get the time over screen, you just progress through the game anyway. So it doesn't really matter how well or how badly you do, you can still pass that level, which is good. And of course, now we're going to touch on sound effects. Another thing that's very important in my opinion, you need some good sound effects for a game. Now, I know beat-em-ups have got the usual bangs, crashes and wallops, but music plays a very important part in any video game in my opinion. First of all, Dangen Entertainment have managed to enlist the musical talents of none other than Yuzo Koshiro of Streets of Rage fame. And we have a handful of very talented musicians that provide you with a really excellent soundtrack, which is very rousing and suits this genre of game perfectly. And another important thing, if you're thinking of investing in the game, it's well under £20. So go for it. You will have a whale of a time.
Sure, why not?
Now, as a reviewer, and a games player, I try to find the positives in every game. I really try not to criticize, unless a game's really rubbish. And this game doesn't really have any glaring faults, as far as I can see. If I have to give it any type of criticism, it would be that there's just two. First of all, this is a personal one, as in a personal opinion. When you're playing Streets of Rage, you have a back attack. So if somebody sneaks up behind you, you can elbow them in the face or reverse kick them, depending on which character you're using. This game doesn't have it. You have to use that move, which eats into your health bar, unfortunately. So there you go. That's one of them. The other one, there's quite a significant difficulty spike towards the last two levels. where you're surrounded by not only the regular enemies, which are very various, by the way, you get a very good variety of them throughout the game, but you're also attacked by the bosses, which you've already defeated. And you have to fight them. On top of that, you've got some robotic mech-type creatures, which are armed with a Gatling gun, and they machine gun you, and they have a stomping attack. And when you're faced with 2 or 3 of them at the same time, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It's not sort of stupidly frustrating that it makes you want to throw your controller at the screen. Nothing like that at all. It's just a little bit of a pain in the bum where you have to repeat the level 2 or 3 times until you find a way to actually position yourself or use a health power-up, which 1 or 2 of them are dropped. So you sort of wait for the enemies to attack and then go for the health power-up when your bar's a little bit drained. And of course, preserve your rage bar. The rage bar I always leave for bosses. You can see it at the top of the screen there, the word rage. If you click inwards the left stick, or L3 as they call it, you go into rage mode where you're faster, you take far less damage, you block various enemies and bosses' moves, and you can just unleash devastation on them. And it does make short work of bosses in particular. Now, I play the game on easy mode because I'm an old man, but even on easy, the game provides you with a very good challenge, especially on those last 2 levels. So there you have it. A fantastic game which is well under £20, so if you're thinking about it and you like scrolling beat 'em ups the way I do, don't think twice about it, because this game is really, truly almost as good as Streets of Rage 4. It's a very, very worthy contender. And if you've, played Streets of Rage 4 till it comes out of your ears and you've unlocked every single little bit that it has to offer and you want an alternative, this is one of the very best alternatives you can ever play, as far as side-scrolling beat-em-ups go. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this little review showcase, and I hope it's inspired you to go and buy the game. So I'd say download it now. If you like this sort of thing, you will not regret it. Anyway, as all my Instagram followers know my slogan, you know where you stand with retro. Ciao, ciao.